Welcome everybody to Heroes and Brews with Nerdy Dudes. We are your friendly neighborhood
Beeroes
Ty and
Kev.
And tonight we're continuing our Heroes and Brews Tournament of Champions for the MCU. And we're going to start off with Captain America Civil War versus Doctor Strange. Kev,
Yeah?
what are you thinking?
Right off the bat, man, I'm going to have to go with Civil War.
Okay.
Just as Avengers that we had discussed previously, we thought, how are they going to fit all these heroes? I know it's crazy to say that now after Civil War, what they gave us. How are they going to fit all these heroes in one movie and make it okay and not so jam-packed and every hero gets his time? And they did it again with Civil War. I thought Civil War was a very emotional film. The dynamic with Steve Rogers and Tony Stark, and how Tony Stark felt we have to have some sort of control,
Yep.
and Steve Rogers was we have to protect these people no matter what the cost is. I thought it was a great. It just fit. It just worked.
Mm-hmm.
It was realistic, as realistic as these superhero films can get, and the way that they incorporated all these characters. I mean, introducing a new Spider-Man, Black Panther, and it was done so well. It was so well balanced, and again, a mixture of humor and action. Civil War just blew my mind. Doctor Strange, I thought was a great film. Visually, it was one of the most stunning Marvel films. It reminded me of an Inception kind of film.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to say, story-wise, Civil War just hit harder for me to compare the two.
So, I have an opposite opinion of you. So, I loved Captain America Civil War, right?
Okay.
Black Panther stole the whole movie.
Yeah.
I loved Tom Holland coming in as Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
don't know if you saw him on lip sync contest, but his thing was hysterical.
I haven't.
He is just a great personality to have on camera.
Yeah, for sure.
But Doctor Strange, they bring in the whole magical realm, the whole magical element into the MCU.
Yes.
I thought it was Benedict Cumberbatch, perfect
Definitely.
casting.
Definitely.
I love the whole vibe of it. I love the story of it.
Yeah.
It brings the whole, like I said, the magical element and the whole Doctor Strange into this universe. And I don't think you can live without that in the MCU, because I think it's going to be a crucial part when it comes to the Infinity Wars.
Sure.
Obviously, you have a lot of cool stuff when it comes to Ant-Man becoming big instead of small. You have Tom Holland referencing Star Wars when he's trying to wrap up the giant Ant-Man. You have an epic fight scene in an airport between Tony Stark's team and Captain America's team. You get to see a lot of Winter Soldier in it. It had a good combination, but like I said, I don't think you continue on in the MCU without Doctor Strange. You have one of the Infinity Gems there, which you need for the Infinity Gauntlet. I think that Doctor Strange needs to go on. It's my opinion.
All right, I see your point. And your point's pretty strong. I mean, to continue with this MCU universe,
Yeah.
and to progress into what Infinity War is going to be, I think I'm going to side with you on this. I think that Doctor Strange should move forward. I think Civil War was a fantastic film,
I agree.
and it was a film that we needed to see as comic book fans.
Because it's an iconic comic book story.
I know it wasn't, word for word, literally they took the Civil War comic and threw it on the screen. But I think it was a great way to show conflict between
Yes.
two heroes who were partners in this. I'm glad they made the film. I enjoyed the film. I've rewatched it I don't know how many times. But I think as a progression into the MCU and to show a different side of the MCU that we haven't seen before, I think Doctor Strange, should move forward.
And Steve says this is definitely an upset. Like, he thought that Civil War could have been like a finalist in this competition. I when I saw Doctor Strange, even though like the whole doctor thing kind of skeeved me out because blood and all that stuff just whatever, doctor things just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
I just think it was a perfect movie. I think, like I said, the casting was great, and it just brought another element into the MCU that it needed to be shown.
It was fresh. It definitely was like a fresh kind of feel to what they've been doing.
I loved Civil War. Like, it was one of my favorite movies
yes.
within the MCU. But I think Doctor Strange, that movie needs just everything about it just needs to make that thing move on, because without Doctor Strange, that movie, maybe Thanos can't get defeated. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
I mean, like that could be an argument point as well. But I just think overall that movie just needs to move on. And I was probably going to use my force push to argue about it, but since we're not...
It's crazy. I mean, Civil War, as much as I love Civil War, I'm glad it was made. It needed to be made. But I feel in this case, I'm okay with seeing Doctor Strange progress, because I feel, as far as the MCU movies have gone, this is kind of a fresh take. And, I'm glad to see this one progress forward.
So next we have, which I'm gonna shoot myself for this one, Iron Man.
Okay.
Versus Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
Should I go first? Or you want to go first?
It's up to you, my friend. Do you want to take this one?
Let me go first.
All right.
So, Iron Man is my favorite character within the MCU by far. Robert Downey Jr. plays Tony Stark perfectly.
Yeah.
Perfectly. The first movie I loved. I loved how you saw that origin of this prototype of an Iron Man to come out of, I don't know if it was Afghanistan or somewhere in the Middle East where they stuck.
Yeah.
To come out alive and then build this prototype to become this superhero. I loved it. However, Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one,
okay, I
loved.
Yeah.
Just the comedy aspect of it. Chris Pratt plays a great Star-Lord. Groot, Jesus. He is one of the best characters in the MCU.
Yeah.
You can't argue that. And he only says his name. And he says, I am Groot over and over again. Yet he still steals half the scenes that he's in. And no one knows that, half the people, you can't even tell it's Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
But it is.
Yeah.
And I love...
Spoilers.
Yeah, right? Seriously. But I can't get over how well done Guardians of the Galaxy was. Listen, Iron Man is probably one of my favorite movies within this whole MCU. But I can't vote against Guardians.
Wow.
The first one, I just can't. I know Iron Man starts his origin within the MCU, but just everything about Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, I'm not going against. I can't.
Okay, I'm going to have to go opposite on this one. So Iron Man might go down as my favorite MCU
It's
movie.
awesome, yeah.
It started the MCU movie universe. When I saw it, I was blown away. I think the way that they incorporated the war of today with Afghanistan, because I know when the Iron Man comic started, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if it was the Vietnam War or something before that, but the way that they adapted what was going on in our world today to that film, I thought was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And I thought the introduction to the Iron Man character, who wasn't... I mean, people knew who Iron Man was, but I just think that the way that Jon Favreau introduced the character, he made Iron Man like an A-rated character. I mean, almost up there with Batman and Superman, which is pretty crazy. So I thought, as an introduction to this whole shared Marvel universe, and to bring Iron Man in, even though when it comes to the Avengers, Captain America is the leader of the Avengers. Starting off with Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark. He is Iron Man. I just thought that movie was just such a brilliant first introduction to what we have now.
Yeah.
It's tough for anything to beat that, because it was such a strong first film. I mean,
to
just go out on a limb and this is how we're going to introduce this universe.
Which was awesome. Listen, like I said, I'm a big fan of Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark, Iron Man, the whole series. I love that character.
Yeah.
But Guardians really introduces Thanos. Like, he's going to be a big player, obviously, in Infinity War.
Yeah.
And, like, it's just, you get to see Gamora, you get to see, what's her sister's name?
Oh, Nebula?
Nebula. Like, everything about that movie, it's pushing forwards towards the future. And that's why, like I said, I love Iron Man, the first one. It's one of my favorite films. I just think that Guardians is pushing full force towards the future of the MCU, and it just needs to go through.
See, and I think Iron Man is the introduction to the MCU. I think this is the way to present a character, and it just branches off from there. I get where you're going with that, but I think Iron Man 1 was just done so well. Not that Guardians wasn't, because I think you have a group of characters that not a lot of people are familiar with, and now everybody knows and loves the Guardians of the Galaxy because it was just done so well by James Gunn. However, I just feel that Iron Man was such a strong film from beginning to end. That film just hit. And
no, I can't disagree with you.
I just have to say is
I can't force push Guardians through just because it's Iron Man. If it was any other movie, I would probably force push Guardians through. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to. It was tough with Civil War and Doctor Strange, and I see Doctor Strange as a progression to the Infinity War and what's gonna happen next. But Iron Man over Guardians of the Galaxy, I have to force push Iron Man through. I just feel like this is how this whole thing started in 2008. And like where we are now, and how fantastic this whole Marvel universe is, and Iron Man was such a, like, it hit so hard at the beginning. You know what I mean? It was just so well done.
I can't disagree with you.
I just feel that like this is.
I'm not upset that my argument is getting destroyed, is losing, because it's Iron Man. Like I said, if it was any other movie, I would have forced pushed the hell out of this thing.
Yeah.
But just because it's Iron Man, the first one, I can't do it because. You're right. The movie was awesome. It's the introduction to the MCU. It was perfect. It was made how everyone was hoping it would be made. And I'm kind of glad Iron Man's going through. But personally, I think Guardians should have gone through. But
I love Guardians. I did. I love Guardians. I thought it was fantastic. It took characters I didn't know, and now I love and enjoy. But Iron Man, the impact of that film, the way it showed, it was just, with the war in Afghanistan, this guy who was, his whole business was creating weapons, and then now he's just kind of like questioning everything, and then to lead to where we are now, I just feel it was such a perfect introduction to what we have. So that's how I'm going to go with Iron Man. So Iron Man, I guess, take over Guardians of the Galaxy?
Well, you force pushed it.
I did. Oh, I did. Force push.
So Iron Man.
Next, Daredevil and Avengers: Age of Ultron. What
so
do you think?
This is hard for me too.
Really?
So James Spader.
Yeah.
God, he's one of my favorite actors. Within the Blacklist, he is amazing. As Ultron, he is perfect. The voice, he is Ultron.
Yeah.
That movie did have some flaws, right? Quicksilver was he was a great character, but died way too fast, in my opinion. But Daredevil, that Netflix series, man, blows a lot of stuff out of the water, man.
Yes, it does.
They were brilliant, Netflix and Marvel, to start with Daredevil, because you got Wilson Fisk, you got Elektra. It's just perfect.
Yeah.
It really is. That series, it started that whole revolution for the Marvel Netflix series. Daredevil made everyone excited for Jessica Jones, for Luke Cage, for Iron Fist. Regardless if they were bad or not, everyone wanted to see all of those series. Because Daredevil started it all.
Yes.
And with the Defenders coming out, no one would be excited for that if it wasn't for Daredevil.
Absolutely correct.
I think it was so strong.
Yes.
And well built. You have a lot of great characters like Faki Nelson, Murdoch. I forget the chick's name.
Karen Page.
Karen Page.
Yeah.
You got Wilson Fisk. You got Gal, Madame Gal. We introduced her.
Yeah.
All these strong characters. The fight scenes, God. The one in the hallway.
Yep.
And let's think in season 2 down the stairwell. Like, these are iconic fight scenes.
Absolutely.
That are brilliantly done. Amazing. And you cannot replicate. And as much as I like James Spader as Ultron and the whole Avengers cast coming together once again, Daredevil goes through
Absolutely.
for me.
No brainer for me. Daredevil, hands down. Watch season 1 3 times. Age of
Maybe
Ultron. It was good. I mean, like you said, it was nice to see the Avengers together again. But to me, it was okay. Let's bring the Avengers together, and they're gonna fight one villain and a bunch of like just disposable other things. Like
Yes.
how they had the Chitauri in the first Avengers. They just had a bunch of robots, like bunch of like, you know,
Yeah, the Hulk Buster.
like sequel Ultrons. You know, they fight.
Yeah.
Daredevil to me, I loved it because it was a great way to. So you had this character who was still incorporated in the MCU, but it was more of a. So you delved into New York, like the grittiness of New York, and you had a hero who protected the streets of New York. So you have the Avengers who protect, you know, like globally, I would say. But it was nice to have like them hone in on a hero who just protects, you know, a more segregated area. And I think Daredevil, the fight choreography that you had mentioned, the acting,
Amazing.
just everything about that series was it was a nice take. I mean, it was very gritty. It was a lot more intense, a lot more violent than we're used than like the MCU like movie universe. But I have to say, Daredevil, I think, surpasses Age of Ultron.
Daredevil's going on.
All right.
So last matchup, Iron Man 2, Captain America, Winter Soldier.
Okay.
In my opinion, I feel like I'm so going against Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., and Iron Man.
Okay.
But Winter Soldier was just such a great film.
Oh, dude.
And the Winter Soldier was such a great villain
Yeah.
that, like, you can't say no to that. You can't.
No, not at all.
The movie itself was perfect. I mean, I loved how Iron Man 2 played out. Mickey Rourke, I believe, right?
Yes, was Whiplash.
Was Whiplash.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, it was an amazing villain, but the Winter Soldier trumps that.
Oh my God.
By far. Not even close. Like, when I watched that movie for the first time on a flight, like, coming home from, I forget where. It was either Hawaii or Florida.
Oh, must be nice.
Yeah, it must be nice, right?
Lavish
But no, it was.
lifestyle.
I was involved the whole time, and I'm terrible with flights. And if something catches my attention and I can forget that I'm on a flight, like going home or somewhere, you're a great movie or a TV show. Like, seriously, I was so involved with this movie, and I wanted to watch it like 8 times over.
Yeah.
It was perfect. I don't know how else to explain it. I
Oh,
really
dude.
loved Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier was brilliant. I mean, it was great because what Marvel, they do so many things great, and I love how they, each film, each hero is almost like locked into a certain genre. And when they came out with Winter Soldier, it reminded me of this like 1970s like spy espionage kind of film, and I was like, wow, like yet again they're doing something fantastic. Because I know with like Tom Holland's Spider-Man, they mentioned doing almost like a 80s kind of like Breakfast Club, you know, John Hughes kind of film. So Winter Soldier to me, it stood out in so many ways. The villain Winter Soldier, I mean, obviously, you know, from the first Avenger, Bucky and Steve Rogers had this like relationship, and now they're pitted against each other, but Bucky doesn't realize that he's pitted against his best friend, you know, and it's just the Winter Soldier, it's tough. I mean, Iron Man is like up here for me, but the Winter Soldier, it's very, very close. I mean, as one of the best MCU films. So I think it's safe to say that Winter Soldier takes over Iron Man 2.
So that's our qualifying rounds for our Heroes and Brews Contest of Champions. Again, always let us know your thoughts. We want to know, do you agree with us?
Yeah.
Is our quarterfinals set out? We got Captain America, the First Avenger, versus Thor. We got the Avengers versus the Incredible Hulk. We got Doctor Strange versus Iron Man. And we got Daredevil versus Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Is that good? Do you like it? Do you agree? If not, please type. Let us know. And as always, have a great night. Thanks for watching.